Today's show, the 5 burning questions during Miami Heat training camp, because obviously the Heat missed out on Damian Lillard, and now we have to turn our eyes to the regular season, and that is only about 3 weeks away, and there are a lot of questions that remain unanswered for our Miami Heat. I'm Nic Rohloff of Chat Sports, but before we dive into today's show, we are starting a new sub-battle, and I give props to you guys for defeating the Philadelphia 76ers in the September sub-battle, but now the King, the Miami Heat, other teams are coming at us in the Boston Celtics, and we got to take down Celtics today. 0-0, starting now. Let's take down the Celtics in our October sub-battle. All right, the number one question is, what will the starting lineup look like for the Miami Heat? Like I mentioned off the top, no Damian Lillard. All of us expected that to happen in this offseason. And are we really going to turn our point guard trust to big booty Kyle Lowry? Come on now. I don't want that. I know you guys don't want that. So the biggest question is, who's going to start at point guard for the Miami Heat? And then also, who's going to start at that 4 spot? Because Kevin Love started last season once he got bought out and brought to the Heat. But who's going to take it for this season? When you look at the Heat guards, you don't have too many guys. You have Tyler Hero, who is a lock to start. There's no doubt number 14 is playing in that starting lineup. The question is, will it be Kyle Lowry? Will it be Josh Richardson, the former second-round pick for the Miami Heat? He returns in this offseason. Will he get that starting spot? Or will it be R.J. Hampton, who they just signed to a 2-way deal last week? I know a lot of us are excited about him, but could he grab that starting spot next to Tyler Hero? And then when you look at that power forward spot, could it be Kevin Love? I think if I had to put my money down on it right now, Kevin Love would probably be the starter. But you also have last year's first-round pick, Nikola Jovic. You have this year's first-round pick in Jaime Jaquez Jr. You have playoff superstar Caleb Martin. And then you have the dark horse sleeper, Haywood Highsmith, who a lot of us are high on. Maybe he can fill that P.J. Tucker role from just a year ago. I like Highsmith, but I'm not sure if he's going to be the starter this upcoming year. If I had to project what the Heat starters would look like as we approach October 25th against the Detroit Pistons, Hero, Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler, those are your big 3. Those are your locks. Now, who grabs the other spot? Personally, I think the Heat and Eric Spoelstra go with Josh Richardson. He has shown the ability to handle the rock in the past, and I think that alongside Tyler Hero, not one of them is a true point guard, but one of them could absolutely take the lead in that spot. Hero can handle the ball. He can get to his spots in the offense and score, as well as facilitate in pick and rolls with Bam Adebayo. I think Hero and Richardson would be a good backcourt because you got the defensive J. Rich to mix up with Hero, and then you have a potential duo there where you have the offense, the defense. I like those two paired up in the backcourt. And then you have Kevin Love at the power forward. Lacking a true point guard, I think the Heat and Eric Spoelstra go with a playmaking power forward in Kevin Love. Use Love's ability to throw that deep outlet pass, almost like a quarterback to a Tagovailoa style in Miami, and throw it deep to Jimmy and Bam in transition to get easy looks so not everything is coming from the front court. But I want to ask you guys, and this is today's pinned comment, so if you get hit with a YouTube ad break, hold up, let it play, and go answer in the comment section. Grade my starting lineup. You obviously saw it: Hero, Richardson, Bam, Jimmy, and Kevin Love. Grade it A, B, C, D, or F. The next biggest question for the Miami Heat: what will Nikola Jovic's role be for this upcoming season? The 27th overall selection in the 2022 NBA Draft basically had a redshirt year last year. But you guys know, if you stayed around here at the Heat Report, that I am a big fan of Nikola Jovic. And will he be able to carve out a role for the Heat this year? Well, Jimmy Butler's got some strong words for Nikola Jovic. He said, as we're getting in the training camp here, he's going to play a significant role in these games with us. This kid is walking around like he's been here 6 or 7 years. And I could not be more excited to hear our leader, Jimmy Butler, say that about Nikola Jovic. Because Jovic was a skinny guy last year. He was only 215 pounds, at 6'11". He couldn't absorb contact. But now he's sitting around 240 pounds. He's muscular. And I think that confidence Nikola Jovic is walking around at training camp with started in the FIBA World Cup when he was playing with Team Serbia, because he was one of the largest proponents of them making that deep run to the gold medal game, 8 games played, 24 minutes a night. He averaged 10 a contest, but the efficiency is where stands out to me the most. 56% from the field and 42% from three is lights out efficiency. Jovic's confidence really got a nice build in the FIBA World Cup, and now he's taking that into the Heat's preseason and training camp. And another perk of Jovic is that he can do everything on the basketball court, especially on the offensive side of the ball. He's a good shooter, as you just saw. 42% from three, 56% from the field. He can score at all three phases of the game. He can lead a fast break, get a rebound, get out and go. And I've said this before, he reminds me, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself here, but he reminds me of the Greek Freak a little bit with his long strides, getting downhill and drawing contact. Another part, he has great touch around the rim. And then the last thing is he has good IQ. Not good, great, high-level IQ. He's one of the smartest basketball players on the Miami Heat roster. He always makes the right play, whether it be dishing it out to the person on a break or was it taking himself and getting to the cup. Before we move on to the next burning question, I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Prize Picks. If you love sports, you must head over to Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America and is available to play in 31 states. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. I took some selections for this upcoming Sunday, NFL Week 5. I'm looking at the Dolphins-Giants game. More than Tua Tagovailoa passing yards, more than Devon A-Chain touchdowns. I think he's going to keep that going. He's had touchdowns in multiple games in a row. I think he keeps that going. And then less than Daniel Jones rushing yards. DJ stinks. The Dolphins are going to contain him all game long. I've had so much fun testing my skills during this football season, and I can't wait till the NBA season arrives. If you have similar skills to mine, which you probably don't, unfortunately, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps with the most exciting daily fantasy app on the planet. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. One more time, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Question number 3 on today's show. Who rounds out the Heat roster? Because as we currently sit, they have 13 full-time contracts with 3 two-ways. The roster construction in today's NBA, you get 15 roster spots, which means they can either elevate some two-ways or they can dip into the free agency pool. Here are the top free agents available in the NBA right now. Terrence Ross, the guard/forward, who's been a Heat killer throughout his career for the Orlando Magic. JaMychal Green, who played a pivotal role for the Nuggets a couple years back and was on the Warriors last year, started in some of those playoff games. TJ Warren, Jimmy Butler's best friend, if you know, you know. Goran Dragic, the former Miami Heat legend who helped lead the Heat to the NBA Finals. And then Kendrick Nunn, another ex-Miami Heat basketball player. Could he come back to the Miami Heat and be a backup guard? If I had to pick out of these 5 guys, or any free agent really available right now, I think Goran Dragic is the most likely. Why? The Heat lost Udonis Haslem this past offseason to retirement, the OG who was with the Heat for 20-plus years. What do the Heat need? Maybe they want a veteran to help the young guys, help mentor inside the NBA this upcoming season. And if that is the route they want to go and not actually go for a difference maker on the roster, say Pat Riley likes who he has on the team and he just wants someone to help mentor the young guys, I think Goran Dragic is the guy. Plus maybe in a spot start, he can give you some points off the bench. But I want you to be Pat Riley. Be the GM for me. Should the Heat sign Goran Dragic? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comments section. Question number 4. Which two-way player gets elevated, if any? The 3 two-way players for the Heat this year, or at least right now, is Drew Smith, RJ Hampton, and Jamal Cain. Will any get elevated to that active roster before October 25th against the Detroit Pistons? If I had to put a bet down right now, I think it's going to be RJ Hampton. the person they just signed last week. He has been someone that has caught my eye for the past week or so because he has been outspoken about how he's wanted to play for the Miami Heat, and he has great measurables. The stats aren't great. We're just going to call a spade a spade. They're not good. But he has the intangibles that you want in an elite guard. He has size, he has athleticism, he has length, and he's a willing defender. I really like what R.J. Hampton can bring to the table. And if there's anyone who could unlock R.J. Hampton's offensive game, it is Erik Spoelstra and this Heat coaching staff. So it would not surprise me one bit if Hampton showed out in this preseason and earned a roster spot, one of the last two. And that's the person I'm looking out for this preseason. We've got 2 weeks of preseason coming up, and I could not be more excited to watch R.J. Hampton play for this Heat team. I think he's going to flash on screen immediately. He's got talent. He's got athleticism. Get him in this Heat culture, Heat system, and let him cook. Number 5, how impactful will Richardson be? Josh Richardson was the marquee signing this NBA offseason, which me saying that out loud right now isn't a good thing when we were talking about Bradley Beal in Dame time. But will Richardson start like I have him projected to be, or will he be the seventh man, a super sub, if you will, alongside Caleb Martin? Richardson has been proven to be someone who can have a pivotal role for a championship contending team over the last 4 seasons. He's bounced around a lot, which you could say is a negative, but I look at it as a positive because he's someone that other teams want. 76ers, Mavericks, Celtics, Spurs, Pelicans, these teams all want his services, and why wouldn't you? He consistently averages double-digit points per game while shooting 34% or better from 3, especially the past 2 seasons where he shot 41.5% from 3 and 36.5%. I like Richardson's game, man. I really think he could be impactful for this Miami Heat team. And I know a lot of people are going to point to this team saying they lost Max Strus, they lost Gabe Vincent. They're not going to be able to compete with the Celtics and Bucks. And although that might be true, I think this team and this roster is much better than last year because Josh Richardson is a huge addition. J. Rich is huge, if you will. I don't know who let that get on screen. Producer Trace, come on, brother. But J. Rich is a perfect blend of Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. Oh, and by the way, J. Rich is an elite defender. He's much better than Strus and Vincent on the defensive end because he's 6'6". He's got length. He's as good of a shooter as Max Strus, and he can handle the rock just like Gabe Vincent. People on the outside looking in saying this Heat roster got worse are just flat out wrong in my opinion. Richardson is a much bigger addition than you would think because, like I mentioned, he is that blend of Strus, of Vincent. They both lost him, but J. Rich fills those holes, and I think he's going to be a perfect player for this Heat team. And if they unlock what he did in 2018 for the Heat, where he was averaging 15 and 16 points per game, this Heat team will take another step. Appreciate you guys for staying out throughout the video. And to close out today's show, I want to know who the real ones are. So show me if you're a real one. If you're watching at the end of the video, spam those 305s for me in the comment section. I'll be looking, and I'll know who's real and who's not. That is going to do it for today's show. If you want more Miami Heat coverage throughout this upcoming season, hit that sub button. We're doing watch parties. We're talking everything Miami Heat, trade news, trade rumors. We're doing it all. So don't miss out. And if you love the Heat, make sure you join the channel.